And why is it always us?
Putin's like another Hitler.
Yeah.
Got to stop him.
What do you think of the support our government is giving to Ukraine? Do you think it should continue or it should stop?
I think it should continue.
Why?
Well, sadly, they are fighting a war which we know from history could spread. I'm not a particular supporter of NATO, but Ukrainians did not start this war. They are an independent country and they need our help. Otherwise, we know from the history of the 30s and 40s, this could spread.
Too much of a complicated question to answer.
It should continue, but continue with purpose. I feel like the support you're giving them, it's not really changing anything, is it? You know, if you're going to support someone, support them 100%. The half-hearted 50% support isn't really going to do nothing. That's my opinion.
Do you think it should continue?
I think it should if they're going to help properly. Yeah.
Putin's like another Hitler.
Yeah.
Got to stop him.
It's very difficult for me to have an opinion on that. The difficulty with this is that it prolongs a war, and so by prolonging that war, more people die. At the same time, Russia shouldn't be empowered to invade another sovereign country and take their land. But also, as a counterpoint, I don't think necessarily that Western countries have been a benign force in the world over the last 50 years. So I can't answer that. I don't know. It's too complicated for someone just on the side of the street to really be able to answer in a couple of minute interview.
Oh, I think it should continue, definitely.
How come?
Because Russia should not be allowed to do what they did. It's just inhumane.
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's difficult because Ukrainian people are suffering a lot and they don't need to, they can't have more than that. The war needs to end. And I'm not an expert, so if that's the quickest way to end the war and to get peace, then I guess, but I don't know, to be honest.
Continue.
Yeah.
Why do you think so?
Because Ukraine needs the help.
Ukraine sadly needs our help.
Amazing. God bless. This government always good. God rest soul, the Queen. God rest her soul. And this government is really perfect. Help everyone.
I think, that sort of links onto my last thing, like all the aid going to Ukraine at the moment, it does detract from other issues in the world that aren't covered by, the mainstream media, like, famine in Somalia and just other like wars and humanitarian crises going on. But in terms of, do I think it should stop? I don't think it should stop particularly, but I think we definitely need a lot more not consultation, but like thoughts about how it should be used most effectively.
Personally, I need to see other countries providing help to Ukraine. And why is it always us and always America that happen to be at the front trying to outdo each other in the amount of money they can give? Where are we getting the money? The money's getting borrowed, so it all has to be paid back, and we're still trying to pay back for COVID. So, either way, we're up the creek without a paddle.
I think if you stop sending support, it'd kind of just be giving in to Russia. I think it's the same thing with the US. I think in some way you do have to send support. Otherwise, you're kind of just folding to what Putin wants. So yeah, I think you should keep sending support.
Oh, absolutely. I think UK should continue to support the Ukrainian government. It's very wrong what is going on there. Anybody with half a brain should realize that this is wrong. And we have a dictatorial leader who's playing under the guise of special quote-unquote military operation. I think that's a joke, but that's my take on it. And I think anybody with half a brain with a degree of conscience will know that what this guy is doing inside Ukraine is wrong. And I suspect a lot of Russians, probably feel the same. But that's my take on it.
Yeah, they should continue to see what happens.
I think it needs to continue. I think there needs to be that support that goes on to support Ukraine at the minute. I think there are other potential areas that could flare up as well, because Ukraine's not the only territory in the world that's got it's trying to defend its territory. There are also other parts of the world that it's got conflict zones, yes, maybe frozen, but with Russia as well. So
do you think we should help those other areas as well?
they're not an area of crisis at the moment, whereas Ukraine is. So, and we've only got a limited amount of resources. But if we don't support Ukraine, then that's a problem. And I think Putin is probably counting on the fact that we get bored and fed up, and our resources deplete, and our interest deplete, that we will give up, and then in supporting Ukraine, and then the Russians will jump on that. So Putin is probably playing the long game with all of this.
I think it should continue. I work with children and I have my own dance company, and we let like 5 Ukrainian students that were refugees come in for free. So if I can help anyone, I would love to help and continue helping.
Yeah, I think the same. We should help them.
Yeah, I'm not sure like where we're going with it at this point, because Putin's said things which would suggest if we increase support much more, he would turn to nuclear war. So I guess that means we just keep going with providing arms, but that just seems to be sort of drawing out the war. I don't know. I'm in two minds about it. I think a lot of it is trying to like save face, because obviously like London especially is very tied up with like Russian investment, and you know how it's been called like London grad or whatever, and obviously we were very dependent on Russian oil supplies. So I think a lot of it is trying to like, I don't know, separate ourselves from Russia. And I think the movement towards like finding other oil sources is good. Although didn't we just make a deal with the Saudis instead, which isn't much better. But yeah, I don't really know what I think.
Should continue.
Why do you think so?
Because Russia shouldn't be enforcing their views in their neighbors. Absolutely.
No, I think we should definitely continue.
Why?
Because we have to stand up against Russia, and that's the only way that we can stand up. And we've decided that we are not going to intervene directly.
I think the main thing is we don't let Putin or any dictators for that matter like believe they can get away with it, because I think that's a big question. It's like why did he think he was able to do this? And I'd say it was things like, you know, weakness in our response to Crimea and things like that. So I think I don't know, I think we have sort of sent a message like we won't stand for it, and hopefully after Ukraine he won't try and expand any further.
Should continue. Yeah.
Why?
I think they just need to do whatever they can to help the people, and to kind of try and stop what's going on there as soon as possible, because it's one of those things that could happen to us, and we hope that other countries and other people and governments out there would do the same for us as well.
I think it should continue, and I think there should be more of it, but at the same time I understand that it's a bit of a, you know, almost like a Cold War kind of situation again, right? Where it's like, if we do fully back them, we fully support them, what are the global implications of that, and what's that to the kind of larger scale of things? Is that going to only make things worse? So I think we should support them more, but at the same time I understand that it's like a balancing act.
No, it should continue.
Why?
Definitely. Because I don't think the Ukrainians asked for this, and yeah, I mean, I think they're one of our neighbors, and I think that yeah, we should help them where you can.
Continue.
It should continue.
Why do you think it should continue?
Because Ukraine is its own sovereign nation. You can't just walk in and claim to take over. It's just not. That's just not all. It's just not the way to behave today.
There should be fellowship between nations, and I think we feel quite attracted towards Ukraine. Yeah.
And also, I think more needs to be done to stop Russian financial links with China, because I think that's almost these countries that Russia is not really allies with, but sort of Russia relies on. More needs to be done to stop as much trade and stuff with China, because then Russia's all by itself, and then it realizes that it can't do harm.
Oh, if I heard it was continuing, I'd be like, yeah, cool, good, go for it.
Yeah. So you think we should continue helping Ukraine?
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, it's because I'm subjective. So you see, I've got a friend who's Polish, and so he's like, so I would feel like they need some help. That's fine, but I wouldn't want to give them a nuclear. I wouldn't want to solve a war. I wouldn't want to give them more than Russia has.
Yeah.
But I'd want to sort of help a bit.
But in terms of like military aid, like
I
tanks.
just imagine Russia, like America, Russia, as like the biggest countries in the world. Russia to me is like the massive, it's such a huge country, and I imagine Ukraine is like the miniest dot ever. In my head, so that's it. So in my head, but I didn't study history. I don't have a clue. I'm just some random person walking in the street.